In North Charleston, South Carolina, where Walter Scott was killed, and he's now pressing for body cameras on police officers. And Senator Scott joins us now. Good morning, Senator.
Good morning. Thanks for having me, Allison.
How would a police body camera have changed what happened to Freddie Gray in Baltimore?
I think substantially. Obviously, if you had 6 officers with 6 different police cameras, 6 different angles, we would know exactly what happened as much as possible. I think what happens is we should always have as much evidence from the scene as possible. Body cameras provides us the opportunity to gather that information real time and to store it, to use it in the criminal investigations. And I think today we'd have a different outcome. What we have seen from studies on body cameras is a 90% drop in complaints against law enforcement officers and a 60% drop in the use of force. So I believe body cameras will help keep more people alive and will help to restore confidence that communities have in law enforcement officers.
Senator, isn't it so interesting? Because at first blush, you'd think that body cameras might serve to hamstring the police somehow, that they would have to check their own level of aggression. And so you could imagine why it would curtail excessive force. But what you're saying, that it actually also curtails complaints against police officers. How does that work?
Absolutely. Well, what we've learned is that when you're on film, your behavior changes. I think it makes your officers safer and it makes your community safer. That's a good thing. And study after study shows that when people are on film and they know they're being filmed, that everyone's behavior, it just tamps down a couple of levels and it allows for a more peaceful conversation, even in the midst of high tension situations. And that's what we find so often on the streets.
The Baltimore City Council approved a bill for body cameras last November. Do you know why the mayor of Baltimore vetoed that?
I do not, honestly. I will tell you, however, that in North Charleston, our mayor and our police chief had ordered 101 cameras, and there was 150 more coming, so that every officer on the streets of North Charleston would have body cameras. I think it's a critical piece of equipment. We should view it as 100% necessary when having interactions with the public.
What's confusing about what's going on in Baltimore in terms of body cameras is that the mayor, Stephanie Rawlings Blake, vetoed the city council bill, but then she proposed her own bill. She said that she didn't like the funding that the city council bill was proposing, and she also didn't believe that the city council should have authority over the police. So she proposed her own bill, and she did that in February. So now she, the mayor, wants body cameras, and the city council wants body cameras, and yet the police don't have body cameras.
Well, I'm sure that they're going to figure out how to get body cameras faster than ever before. Ultimately, what I hope happens is that we have a national conversation, because this is not simply Ferguson, North Charleston, and/or Baltimore. This should be a conversation nationwide about how do we make sure that our law enforcement officers, the vast majority of whom are doing their jobs with the highest level of integrity, are safe, and for those bad apples who are not doing their jobs right are caught and punished.
You know, one of the interesting things about these cases, Freddie Gray and Walter Scott from your hometown, is that they actually both were caught on camera. Both of these incidents were caught on camera by, as you know, a bypasser in one case and then some surveillance cameras in other cases, but both of them miss critical points that would really help complete the story. With Freddie Gray, we missed the moment, we think, of when his spine might have been so severely injured. And today that would make all the difference in this case, wouldn't it?
It obviously seems to would have made the biggest difference. We would have been able to see what happened with Mr. Gray. And the second part I think is very important as well. Whenever I get into many taxis now, I will tell you that very often in taxis there is a camera pointing back at the passenger. And just imagine if we were able to see what happened inside the officers' cars as well. I think it's very important for us to recognize, in order for us to restore trust and to heal communities, we're going to have to look at the next step, which is making sure that we understand what happened because we saw it, not because we heard it.
Senator, very quickly, what do you think is going to happen in Baltimore on Friday when the police have to turn over the findings of their investigation to the state's attorney?
It's difficult to tell. I certainly hope that justice is done. I hope that we have more illumination on the issue and that we understand the entire process that we don't understand today. It's very difficult to predict the future, but I am looking forward to hopefully the police turning over every single bit of information that is important in this case.
And Senator Tim Scott, we will see if your calls for body cameras on police nationwide are heeded after an incident like this. Thanks so much for being on New Day today.
Yes, ma'am.
Let's go.